Hello everyone. Since I'm not out observing tonight, I thought I'd go through my eyepieces because I've been thinking about picking up another eyepiece or maybe two since the Explore Scientific sale is about to end. Prices are going to be going up, so I thought maybe I'd pick up another eyepiece before the price increase. And that price increase takes place on January 1st, so I have until tomorrow to place my order and get the eyepiece at the current price. But as I was thinking about eyepieces and I was working on my Eyepiece XL calculator, which I'll show you a screen of real quick. I'll probably do a walkthrough video of my Eyepiece calculator later, but I thought I'd just take out my eyepieces and go through them. It's actually clear tonight. I'd rather be out observing, but I can't get out to my club's observing site tonight. And where I'm at, I'm in a very dark location, but unfortunately I have a lot of trees in my yard and all around me, so I just have the zenith that's clear available to me. When I had a smaller scope that I could carry around the yard, I'd go out and observe in my yard on nights like this, and then I'd just have to move from one side of the yard to the other to maybe be able to get a look at what I wanted to see. But now that I have the 12-inch Dob, I'm not going to carry that around the yard. What I'd like to do is go through my eyepieces and kind of just give a review of some of my eyepieces for anybody else that's maybe thinking about buying some of these eyepieces that I have, or they're just wondering how good they are or how they perform. So I'll start with my Explorer Scientific. One thing I should do before I start talking about individual eyepieces is just talk about my collection is probably what I would consider an intermediate collection of eyepieces. There's eyepieces that a lot of scope manufacturers will package with the scopes. I'll just show you a couple of those now. And I've never used either of these eyepieces. They came with my scope. I've used similar ones, but I have the Orion 12-inch truss Dob, and with it came a 10 millimeter Sirius Plossel, which is, it's a fine beginner eyepiece. Probably 50-degree apparent field of view, something like that. But I wanted something a little bit more wide field, and most of the eyepieces that I have now I bought when I had my 8-inch Dob. So I never use these eyepieces that came with it, but I hang on to them just because I may sell the scope someday, and it'd be nice to pass these along with the scope to the new buyer. The other eyepiece that came with the scope is the Orion Deep View 35 millimeter, and it's it's kind of a cheaper eyepiece that they just give folks to get started with. Twist up big rubber eye cup on this, but yeah, that's those came with the scope, and I don't use them, but I hang on to them just so that someday, when and if I sell this scope, I'll have something to pass on to the new buyer, so they have something to get started with. But so now in my eyepiece collection that I do use, I'll start with the Explore Scientific 35 millimeter. This is the 70-degree series eyepiece. These they were quite popular at the time that Explorer Scientific was selling them, but they discontinued them when they started coming out with the 82 degree eyepieces, and since then they've come out with the 100 degree and 120 degree. But this eyepiece I bought when it was on clearance, and it was $50, and when they were selling them at the normal price, these were $100, and it's I had an 8-inch stop at the time I bought this. So with my current telescope, the exit pupil is over 7 millimeters, and contrast is kind of washed out with it, but I still hang on to it until I get something better. But for $50, it's been a great eyepiece. It's not sharp to the edge of the field, and some of what I would call flaring towards the edge, depending on the brightness of the object. But overall, I mean, for $50, I'm happy with it. The double cluster looks real nice in this. The next one this is now one of the 82 degree series Explorer Scientific eyepieces, nitrogen purged. And I like this series of eyepieces, but I don't like this eyepiece, and I'll tell you why. There's a couple reasons. This doesn't have as good eye relief as the rest of the series. This particular eyepiece has about 13 millimeters eye relief, so for me, I have to really get into the eyepiece, get my eye right in there. And then the other thing that I don't like about this is the threading here. I can't thread my filters onto this eyepiece, my 2-inch filters. I have Orion filters. When I talked to Explorer Scientific about that, they said that, well, that's Orion's problem, but the Orion filters thread fine on my, I have a Meade 2-inch eyepiece. They thread fine on there. I've tried them on a 1 1/4 to 2-inch adapter, and they thread fine on there. I've tried them on a Stellar View diagonal. They threaded fine on there. And I've read a lot and talked to a lot of people about threading of eyepieces, and basically I think what it comes down to is the manufacturers use different standards for threading. Some manufacturers use metric standard, and some use the English measurement standard, and they're supposed to be so close that one thread type will fit another thread type. But if different manufacturers are at either end of the tolerances, then sometimes you can have fit problems, and that's exactly what I've run into. So I can't get the filters that I currently own onto this eyepiece, and I'd like a little bit better eye relief. So I may part with this one soon and replace it with something else. But for now, I'm going to hang on to it. I use it occasionally. From the 18, I jumped down to the 11, and this is my go-to eyepiece. This another guy in my club calls this the the 11 millimeter Nagler clone, and we did a side-by-side comparison of this eyepiece and the 11 millimeter Nagler that we borrowed from another club member one night, and I couldn't tell the difference. Now, some other people with more experience said that they could tell the difference between the two eyepieces, but for my purposes, this eyepiece is, I thought, performed just as well as the 11 millimeter Nagler. So this eyepiece is, like I said, it's my go-to eyepiece. It's 15 millimeters of eye relief, a little bit better than the 18. I use it a lot. And again, it's the 82 degree series, nitrogen purged, tapered barrel. The Explorer Scientific 82 degree series has the tapered barrel, which is nice, so you don't accidentally let it slip out of the focuser. And this particular eyepiece gives me a little bit over a half a degree field of view. So that's the 11 millimeter Explorer Scientific 82 degree. Next I jump down to the 8.8. The 8.8 is another nice eyepiece in this series. All the same features, 82 degrees, nitrogen purge, tapered barrel, twist up eye cup. The eye relief, let's see, the eye relief on the 8.8 is 14 millimeters. And I like this eyepiece when the 11 millimeter, I just want to bump up the power a little bit. I just jump up to the 8.8 and does quite nicely. I like this eyepiece a lot. No complaints with the 8.8. The next eyepiece is a 6.7. 6.7 is fairly close to the 8.8, and some people would say, well, why do you need the 8.8 if you've got the 11 and then you've got the 6.7? Well, I didn't plan on buying some of these eyepieces originally because at the time I think these eyepieces were going for around $150 a piece, but then Explorer Scientific had a sale. The sale seems to last forever, but prices are going up January 1st. But when they went down to $99, I figured, well, for that price, I could throw a few extra eyepieces into my collection. And so that's what I did. I picked up, I think most of my eyepieces, I picked them up when they're on sale, except for maybe the 11. I think all the other ones were bought on sale. And this is a good eyepiece. I'm glad I bought it because when I want to pump up the power, sometimes this is a good eyepiece. On a good night, this will give me almost 225x in my scope. And if it's exceptional seeing, I can borrow this and get up over 440, but that's very rare that I do that. But it has all the same features as the other 82 degree nitrogen purged Explorer Scientific eyepieces. And this eyepiece will come in handy when I pick up my grab and go scope. I'm looking at one grab and go scope that's shorter focal length than my current scope, so I think this will get a lot more use then. It gets a fair amount of use now, but it'll get a lot more use in a shorter focal length scope. 6.7. Okay. Now I'm going to jump over to my Stratus eyepieces now. Actually, I'm going to start with the 13 because I bought the 13 first. This is the Orion Stratus 13mm 68 degree eyepiece. And this is, I think these are made by the same Chinese manufacturer, China, that makes the Beta Hyperion series and the Vixen. I'm not sure about Vixen, but I think somebody calls these Vixen clones. But these are certainly the same as the Beta Hyperions. And I like this eyepiece a lot for a couple of reasons. All of these eyepieces in the series are parafocal, and they're all 1.25 inches. So if you don't have a 2-inch focuser, then no problem there. You can also drop these into a 2-inch focuser, by the way. This will drop right in here to the 2-inch focuser. But the eye relief on this entire series is 20 degree eye relief. 20 millimeter eye relief, which I love. because you don't have to get right up on the eyepiece. You can just kind of just get close to it, and you're getting the entire field of view. And for me, the ease of just being able to get a quick look, and not having to get your eye right up on the glass and kind of strain to look to the edges of the field, reduces a lot of that eye fatigue. When you're trying to look at something for a while. And all the eyepieces in this series are that way. So I like them for that reason. And the other reason I like them is they're good for when you're doing outreach and you're doing a star party for the school. You have a lot of kids lined up at your scope, and with an eyepiece like this, with the 20 millimeter eye relief, the kids get up there and they just look, and right away they can see what they're what they want to look at. They don't have to get right up on the eyepiece and then breathe on the eyepiece or touch the eyepiece because they can't see something or they're struggling to see it. So it makes it easy for that, for the outreach. I'd like to pick up some more of these, even though these overlap with my Explorer Scientific. I wouldn't mind having a few more. So I keep watching Cloudy Nights to see see if people throw them up there for sale. That's where I picked up my 17 millimeter on Cloudy Nights. So here's the 17. All the same features as the 13. 20 millimeter eye relief. It's the same series, the same Baader Hyperion Vixen clone. Good eyepiece. So another eyepiece I have, this isn't one of my favorites. It doesn't get a lot of use. This is a Meade QX wide angle 20 millimeter, 26 millimeter eyepiece. I picked this up because I got it cheap on Cloudy Nights. Guy was selling for $40. I had a little bit of a gap in my eyepieces. I just went from the 35 down to the 18. So I figured for $40 I'd pick it up, and but it's not the best eyepiece, and I can see why he sold it. It's not sharp to the edge of field, get a lot of flaring of stars, so it doesn't get a lot of use for that reason. I'd like to maybe replace this with the 24 millimeter Explorer Scientific, and I'd get the obviously that would perform better optically, and I'd get the wider field of view in that. So Meade QX wide angle 26 millimeter doesn't get a lot of use. I've got a cheap Barlow. I picked this up because I used to have a set of Celestron eyepieces. They come in that aluminum kit, and I bought that when I had my 8-inch scope, kind of just to have a set of eyepieces other than the ones that come with it. And when I sold that kit, I thought to myself, well, I don't have a Barlow anymore now because the Barlow was in that kit. So I picked this up because it was cheap on High Point Scientific, but I don't think it's worth the money. It was $50, but it's a little bit on the cheap side. I wish I put that $50 towards maybe a Teleview 2X Barlow or something else, maybe one of the other better ones. But anyways, I have it in there for now. It'll probably get replaced soon. Some of the other items in this case are, this is my polarizing filter, which I like a lot, and it's a requirement with a 12-inch scope. You know, if I'm ever looking at the moon or even Jupiter sometimes, you know, because it's so bright, need to knock down that brightness. But this is a, you can see, I think you can see it as I twist it, the polarizing, the elements, see how it blocks a lot of that light as I twist it. Twist it some more, and then it allows some more light in. I forget exactly the percentage that it blocks. I think it goes something from, oh, actually it says right on the side here. Let's see if I can catch that. 1 to 40%. Can't get the, there it goes. The autofocus on my camera. It's having a tough time dialing it in. I keep it in this little case that I got from Egina Astro. I love these cases. I don't even remember, a couple bucks each, these cases. And they're nice little cases for filters and other small items. I bought a few more of them in case I happen to pick up other, you know, 1 1/4 eyepieces, or you know, maybe another 2-inch eyepiece. But these are great little filter cases from Egina Astro. So the other filter that I have is the Orion Ultra Block. This is a nebula filter. Cuts down some of the light pollution as well. Let's see if I can. This is the 2-inch Orion Ultra Block. And this does a nice job on the Trifid, the Lagoon, the Veil Nebula, even the Dumbbell. Kind of brings out the dumbbell, improves the contrast. There's other nebula that it doesn't do any good at all on, and I'm no nebula filter expert, so I can't talk to you about wavelengths or anything like that, wavelengths of light and which one's best for what. But I asked someone else in my club who had a lot more experience with these than I do. You know, which filter I should get, which nebula filter. And he said, well, if you can only get one, get the Ultra Block, because you'll be able to use it on a lot more. You know, and then later on down the road, if you have the money or the means, pick up the Oxygen 3. So that's what I have for now, and I'm very happy with this filter. And so that's about it. That's my eyepiece collection right now. Like I said, it's kind of an intermediate set of eyepieces. You know, some other folks that they're a little bit more serious, or maybe have a little bit more money to spend. They'll have Teleview eyepieces, Panoptics, or Naglers, or Ethos, or something else. But I'm very happy with the Explorer Scientific series of eyepieces for the most part, with maybe the exception of that 18mm. And that's it for now. Okay, talk to you later.